So here we are, January 2026, and let me tell you, the cosmos is not just turning the page, it's flipping the whole book upside down and doodling in the margins. Picture this. The Sun, Mercury, Venus, and Mars all crammed in the Capricorn's living room like four overachievers at a group project meeting. You know the type. Everyone's got a color-coded planner, someone's already made a spreadsheet for snacks, and Capricorn's just trying to keep the Wi-Fi working. Now, before you get too comfortable with all this structure and ambition, let me warn you. The universe has a plot twist up its sleeve. Just when you think you've got your life organized down to the last paperclip, the planets grab their briefcase and dash into Aquarius. Suddenly, it's let's build a fortress, and more let's invent teleportation and see if the cat wants to join. If you're feeling like your life is switching genres from drama to sci-fi, trust me, you're right on cue. Now let's talk about this Capricorn boot camp from January the 1st to the 20th. We want to talk about that vibe for January. And in the first 3 weeks, it's all about Capricorn's boot camp. Imagine 4 planets trying to out-serious each other. If you've ever seen a TED Talk marathon about how to build a legacy and never have fun, well, you know the drill. We're starting this month with what astrologers like to call a stellium, and that's when more than 3 planets congregate in the same sign and a reunion. In early January, we've got the Sun, Venus, Mars, and Mercury all in Capricorn, creating this concentrated focus on long-term goals and planning, yes, even for your sock drawer, career moves, and professional reputation. Think LinkedIn profile anxiety, anyone? Building structures that last, physical, emotional, or that IKEA shelf that you've been putting off. And discipline over instant gratification. Sorry, impulse purchases. Authority, responsibility, and showing up consistently, even on Mondays. And you know that Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, the cosmic taskmaster, who thinks fun is what happens after you've finished your taxes. With this much planetary weight in Capricorn, you're being nudged, shoved, toward building something that lasts. And if you suddenly feel the urge to alphabetize your spice rack or start a retirement fund for your cat, don't worry. You're just channeling peak Capricorn energy. This isn't light, breezy energy. Capricorn is the CEO of the zodiac and the mountain climber, the one who actually reads the instruction manual. When you've got this much planetary power in Capricorn, you're being asked to take things seriously, to build with intention, to think about what you're creating now that will stand the test of time. Well, at least 5 more years, or hey, at least until next Tuesday. Well, we've got a little bit of an Aquarian revolution, January the 20th to the 31st. And here's the twist. This super serious vibe doesn't stick around forever. By January the 20th, the planets get restless, pack up their spreadsheets, and sprint into Aquarius. Now the energy shifts from build the empire to let's revolutionize the empire. Aquarius is a sign of the rebel with a business plan, the innovator who actually reads the terms and conditions. Aquarius is ruled by both Saturn, its traditional ruler, and Uranus, its modern ruler, which means it carries structure and rebellion. It's the sign of the revolutionary who has a plan, the innovator who can actually execute, and the humanitarian who thinks in systems. And just like that, you're moving from how do I make this last to how do I make this weird in a good way. It's a cosmic baton pass, and you're running the next leg with roller skates and a neon cape. So if the first 3 weeks of January are about laying your foundation, the last week and a half is about asking, now what can I do with this that's never been done before? Now on January the 2nd, Mercury enters into Capricorn, and when your brain gets a day planner, Mercury spends its last day in Sagittarius on January the 1st. Now that's expansive thinking, big picture philosophy, maybe a little scattered, like trying to have 5 conversations at once while also Googling best pizza in Naples. But on January the 2nd, Mercury enters Capricorn and immediately joins that stellium. Suddenly, your thoughts get so practical, you might start color-coding your dreams. Your thinking gets more focused, more practical. You're not interested in theory anymore. You want to know what works. Communication becomes more direct and sometimes blunt, and you're editing down on what matters. No more I have an idea followed by nothing. Now it's I have a plan, here's the timeline, and yes, I've already blocked off my calendar. For the next 2.5 weeks, Mercury in Capricorn gives you the mental clarity to plan, strategize, and execute. And if you've been putting off making a business plan, outlining your year, or having that serious conversation, well, this is your window. Now, on January the 3rd to the 4th, Moon enters into Cancer, and there's a Jupiter trine, so emotional comfort food, if you will. On January the 3rd, the Moon enters Cancer and immediately forms a tight trine with Jupiter, also in Cancer. And we're talking less than a degree of separation. This is exact, powerful, and emotionally lucky. The Moon and Jupiter have a heart-to-heart in Cancer and serving up emotional breakthroughs and family group hugs. Cancer Moon is about a home, family, emotional security, and nurturing. So think making soup for someone who's had a bad day, except the soup is also a hug and a little bit of therapy. Jupiter expands whatever it touches, and so when these two connect this tightly, you get emotional breakthroughs that feel easy, not forced, like suddenly understanding why you've been anxious, and it just, well, makes sense. Family connections that bring genuine joy and not obligation, intuitive hits that turn out to be right, so trust your gut on the 3rd, and a sense that you're emotionally supported by the universe. This is one of the softest, most generous aspects of the month, and if you've been feeling emotionally stretched, January the 3rd and the 4th gives you a reprieve. It's like the cosmos is handing you a warm blanket and saying, take a breath, you're doing just fine. Now, January the 5th through the 8th, Venus, Sun, Mars conjunct. And what we give is peak main character energy. Here's where things get intense, but in the best way possible. Venus, the Sun, and Mars form a supergroup in Capricorn. It's peak main character energy. So think Beyonce, but with more spreadsheets. From January the 5th through the 8th, Venus, the Sun, and Mars are all within 1 degree of each other in Capricorn. That's a conjunction so tight it's basically a single point of energy. Venus is attraction, values, beauty, and relationships, and the Sun is identity, purpose, and vitality. Mars is action, drive, and desire, and when all three come together in Capricorn, the sign of ambition and long-term strategy, you get magnetic personal charisma. People want to be around you and work with you, perhaps even date you. The ability to attract what you actually want, not just what's easy or convenient, and creative drive that's focused and productive, not just vibes, but actual output. Romantic or professional partnerships forming with serious potential, the energy to take decisive action on your goals. This is peak. I know who I am and I'm going for it energy for January. If you've been waiting to launch something, share your work, or make a bold move, this is your week. On January the 8th, Venus and Mars reach their exact conjunction, 0 degrees of separation. That's passion, magnetism, and creative fire at maximum intensity. And if you're not taking action on something important on January the 8th, well, you're missing one of the best days of the month. January the 9th, the moon squares Neptune, and this is when reality gets fuzzy and the moon and Neptune get into a little bit of an argument. You might feel like you're starring in a soap opera written by Salvador Dali. January the 9th brings one of the trickier aspects of the month, where the moon in the final degree of Virgo squaring Neptune and Pisces at less than 1 degree of separation. Now, squares create tension, and Neptune is the planet of dreams, intuition, and also illusion and confusion. And when the moon, your emotional body, squares Neptune this tightly, you might experience, well, I'll say difficulty distinguishing intuition from wishful thinking. Basically think, is this a sign or am I just tired? You might also experience a little bit of emotional fog or confusion about what you actually feel, and perhaps some heightened sensitivity to your environment. Basically, you're absorbing everyone else's energy like a sponge. You might also experience some strong dreams or creative downloads if you're paying attention, and you might have the urge to escape reality through fantasy, substances, or avoidance. Yes, scrolling does count. Now, this isn't a bad aspect, but it requires awareness. The key is to notice when you're seeing things clearly versus when you're projecting what you want to see. By evening on the 9th, the moon enters Libra and the fog starts to clear. So if you wake up feeling confused or emotionally unclear, don't make big decisions. Wait until evening. Have some tea. Pet a dog. The clarity will return. January the 12th, Pluto enters Aquarius, the 20-year plot twist. Pluto moves into Aquarius for a 20-year binge watch of how technology will take over everything. This is the big one. Pluto officially enters Aquarius on January the 12th at 0 degrees and 4 minutes. It's staying there for the next 20 years. Yes, you heard me right. I said 20 years. This is not a weekend transit. This is a generational shift. Pluto is the planet of transformation, power, death, and rebirth, and the shadow side of humanity. It moves slowly, spending 12 to 30 years in each sign. The last time Pluto was in Aquarius was 1777 to 1798, and that was the American and French Revolutions, the rise of Enlightenment thinking, and the beginning of industrial innovation. Now it's back, and it's got opinions about your iPhone. Aquarius rules technology, innovation, groups and collective movements, freedom, revolution, humanitarian causes, and the future. Pluto in Aquarius means we're entering a 20-year period where power structures around technology, social systems, and collective movements will be completely transformed. AI, decentralization, social media, digital currency, climate activism, global cooperation or lack thereof, these are Pluto and Aquarius themes. And on a personal level, wherever Aquarius falls in your chart, so check your rising sign, that's the area of life where you'll experience deep, permanent transformation over the next 2 decades. This isn't a transit you work with in a single day. This is a generational shift. But January the 12th is the official beginning. Pay attention to what things are showing up in your life around power, control, technology, and collective movements. They're going to be important for a very long time. And speaking of things that are going to be important for a very long time, in the extended version on the front porch, I'm breaking down exactly where Aquarius falls in your neck of the woods, i.e. your chart, and what area of your life is getting this 20-year transformation. But we're not done with January's transits just yet, so let's keep going. Now, on January the 18th, Venus enters the Aquarius, and that's when love gets weird, but in a good way. Venus leaves Capricorn, where love and values were serious, practical, and long-term focused, and enters Aquarius, where everything lightens up. Relationships get quirky, friendships get flirty, and your taste in art gets weird, but in a good way. Venus in Aquarius is about freedom in relationships, less possessiveness, more space, attraction to what's unconventional or different. Suddenly, that person with the weird hobby is really interesting. Friendship as the foundation of romance, think I like you becomes I like talking to you about literally anything. And valuing innovation, intelligence, and independence in partners, social causes, and humanitarian values, well, they become more attractive. If Venus in Capricorn was let's build an empire together, Venus in Aquarius is let's change the world together. But also you do your thing and I'll do mine and we'll meet up for pizza. This shift also means your aesthetic preferences might change. You're drawn to what's futuristic, unusual, or ahead of its time. Less classic, more experimental. If you suddenly want to dye your hair silver or buy art from an artist no one's heard of yet, well, that's Venus in Aquarius doing its thing. January the 20th to the 21st. The Sun and Mercury enter into Aquarius, and suddenly everyone's talking about blockchain and group projects. The Sun enters Aquarius on the 20th, marking the official start of Aquarius season, and Mercury follows within hours on the 21st. The Sun's ingress into Aquarius shifts the collective focus from Capricorn's climb the mountain energy to Aquarius's let's build a better future for everyone's energy. Mercury in Aquarius brings logical, detached thinking, less emotional, more analysis. Let's look at the data. It also brings an interest in technology, science, and innovation. So if you've been putting off learning about AI, now you're curious. It also lends itself to communication that's direct and sometimes blunt, well, because Aquarius ain't got no time for all of that. This is an excellent energy for brainstorming, strategizing, and seeing patterns others miss. Less great for emotional processing or traditional approaches. If someone suggests doing things the way we've always done them, well, the Aquarian energy will want to flip the table. Mars is the final inner planet to make a jump from Capricorn to Aquarius, entering on January the 24th. Mars brings action to Aquarius's innovation station. Mars in Aquarius is action toward innovation. It's the energy of the inventor, the activist, the person who fights for the collective good rather than personal gain. You might notice less patience for the way we've always done it, more energy for group projects or social causes, interest in technology, experimentation, and trying new methods, and frustration with tradition for tradition's sake. Action that's more mental and strategic rather than physical and direct will stay in Aquarius through early March. So this is a sustained period of innovation action. Use it to experiment, try new approaches, and think outside the box you didn't even know you were in. All right, this is where I'm going to head on over to the front porch. Over there, we're diving into how the moon's emotional journey hits your day by day, where Aquarius falls in your neck of the woods for that 20-year transformation, and the week-by-week action plan with exact dates so you know what to do and when. If this has been resonating and you're ready for the full roadmap, the link to join the front porch is right below this video. I'll meet you over there.